the road to glory. Week 6 officially in the books, and you're here listening live to our reaction show. It's your host, Sean. I'm joined, as usual, by Stefan. Steph, you're on a bye week this week. How you feeling? What's the vibes? How'd you enjoy this weekend of college football?
Man, the vibes are amazing. And this is just like every time when we say the slate is weak and then the chaos happens. And chaos happened a lot. So I'm ready to get into it, pause, because this last weekend of college football was crazy.
Yeah, man. I think you said it best every single week, and we said it again last week. Just feels like these quiet weeks, these weeks where you're looking at the schedule, the slate, and you're like, yeah, some decent matchups, but not too many that really stick out. And of course, like clockwork, like you mentioned, another explosive week had a whole bunch of upsets, um, good games all over the place, and we're gonna break it all down here for you. Before we do that, make sure if you're not already, you're following us at the Pigskin Live on Instagram. Really trying to help that grow. So make sure you do follow us. We post highlights, we post memes, we post all sorts of things. Pretty much every day of the week, there's posts up there. So make sure you check us out there for all your college football content and needs. And then again, make sure that whatever platform you're listening to this on, whether that be YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Music, you make sure you subscribe, you like, comment. Just helps us. It doesn't cost you anything, doesn't sign you up for anything. It's completely free. It's just does us a favor. Um, so yeah, this has been one of our most successful seasons so far out of the three. So please keep sharing, keep listening. We appreciate the love so far. Um, so yeah, let's get into it. Week 6. I mean, we say this every week, but it's crazy that we've already gotten through 7 weeks of college football if you include week 0. So we're in the thick of things here, you know? We are in the thick of things. Started off Thursday, only one game, some G5 action there. Not much to talk about. Over on Friday, BYU picked up a win against West Virginia, 38-24. Outside of that, we just had some other scattered G5 action throughout Friday, including South Florida picking up a win, uh, 54-26. Uh, Saturday, as usual, is really when things got started. And that starts off with the number one team in the country, Ohio State. They were at home as they took on Minnesota. Not a close game. They handled business 42-3. Julian Sayin looked good. The defense looked great. Ohio State, they're rolling. The number um who's number two? I think they were on bye this week. You guys are number two. Oregon's number two,
It
they're
was
on
Penn
bye.
State.
Or Penn
Oh,
State
no,
was
no,
number
no.
two.
They started off number two. I don't remember what they were this past week.
Yeah, I don't. I think whoever the second ring team is on bye. I don't know the exact.
Yeah, it might have
But
been
that
them.
brings it's all good. That'll bring us to the third ranked team in the country. No worries, and that is Miami as they travel to take on their rivals, Florida State, and with a 28-22 victory, that is a sweep for Miami on the state of Florida as they beat all the other major programs in the state. So that is a win in itself this year for Miami. I was a little bit critical on Miami last week, and I think they definitely continue to prove me wrong in a sense. They look pretty incredible again this week. The score was about what I predicted. I did think Florida State was going to keep it close, but the gameplay did not necessarily match what the score showed. Miami pretty much dominated this game. I think Florida State had like 3 points in the fourth quarter or late in the third quarter. Um, Miami kind of just took their foot off the gas a little bit towards the end, but yeah, they looked good, and Florida State did what I thought they were going to do. I mean, Miami was held to under 100 rushing yards on the day. Their top rusher was 12 carries for 40 yards, only a 3.3 average. Um, and it, but Carson Beck, man, he delivered. And he was somebody I'm still a little bit critical on. Again, I know it sounds crazy, but I just think Carson Beck is fool's gold, man. I know 4 touchdowns, 20 for 27, 240 yards. Um, I don't know. And it's stupid to say he's getting carried by his wide receivers because it's a team sport. And obviously, like, so what? Like, if you have good wide receivers and you're getting them the ball, that's the job of a quarterback. So I don't want to take that away from him. But I still wonder about Miami. I still wonder about Miami. I think maybe they do just run through the ACC for the rest of the year and they win this conference with pretty much ease. But I wonder when they get to the playoffs. I think their defense is definitely physical enough. But that offense, man, I wonder about that offense if they when they go play a team like Oregon in the second round, or when they go play Ohio State, or they go play Georgia, or something like that in the first round of the playoffs or second round of the playoffs. I still need to be convinced a little bit by the quarterback play. Other than that, though, they dominated Florida State, best team in Florida this year. I, I think, like you mentioned last week, you can argue they're the best team in the country. I think that's fair, even though I was kind of capping on them, but good win overall for Miami.
Yeah, man. I think the tail of this game to me is Florida State just not being able to throw the ball very well. I mean, Tommy Castellanos, we know what type of player he is. It's just the same story. In the end, the score was close, but they really were just trying as hard as they can to keep it close at the end of the game. I mean, this was a typical Mario Cristobal game.
Hmm.
They get up by 20 points, and then he's just going to sit on it and try to bleed clock. And in the fourth quarter, Florida State just decided to start scoring, and then in the end, they need to kick multiple onsides to try to win the game, and obviously they weren't able to do it. So that's really what it is. Like Miami's just a way better team at every spot. They're able to throw the ball. They got good wide receivers. I mean, Malachi Tony, freshman
Freak.
phenom.
Yeah.
It's like that guy is going to be a star, man.
Yeah. He is already a star. Shit.
Yeah, like he's amazing. So this team, I think this team could really do it. They should do it, honestly. Obviously, this is a Mario Cristobal coach team, so they're definitely not immune to losing a dumb game. But they should run through the ACC, man. Especially with the way that league is looking. I think they beat probably the hardest challenge they should have, at least on paper, in the ACC. I mean, the rest of the season should be smooth sailing for them. They should go 13-0 and win the conference, man. Like I really think they should. Um, I just don't really see anybody else competing with them that much. I think the question is what other ACC team is going to meet them in Charlotte, but
Yeah.
I don't think even that will be too much of a challenge, regardless of who it is. Sad to say. I honestly think this conference is only getting one team in the playoffs.
Right now it is looking that way. I don't think that's a hot take, to be honest. Which is a little bit wild to say because I thought maybe this could be a year they could maybe even get 3 teams. But
Yeah,
not looking good in the ACC, except for Miami. No matter how much hating I do, it's status quo over there. They are on the fast track to, like you said, 13-0 in their first ACC championship game. And I mean, first appearance or first? I think they've appeared in it once, but I don't think they haven't ever won it.
yeah,
Um,
they've never won it. I don't remember if they've appeared in it or not.
yeah, so a little bit of uncharted territory for Miami. But yeah, man, they're looking dominant. They're looking good. Um, Definitely a scary team for sure. For sure. Moving along, Oklahoma, they beat Kent State 44-0 pretty easily. Defense pitches a shutout in that one. Texas A&M, they make Mississippi State look pretty pedestrian. Obviously, we all know Kyle Field is not an easy place to play, and Mississippi State just had a hard time getting things going on the road. against a really good Texas A&M defense. Marcel Reed, this guy's taking off and continuing to excel and improve, and that's a good team right there, without a doubt. Florida plays A&M next week at A&M. That's going to be a. We'll talk about that game later on this week, but yeah. Uh, let's move on to arguably the biggest upset of the year so far. Um, there was a few big upsets on Saturday, but I think this one definitely takes the cake, and that is UCLA shocking Penn State 42-37 in the Rose Bowl. We talk about it all the time. Good teams don't get beat twice. Good teams don't look past other teams. Good teams don't have hangovers and all these other things that are in the DNA of a good program and a good team. And Penn State just does not have any of that DNA. Losing to Oregon is one thing. Losing another top 10 game in the Big Ten, that's one thing, right? Like, obviously, that wasn't ideal, and we talked about that a lot last week. But letting Oregon beat you twice, um, that just can't happen if you are truly a program that has championship aspirations. And obviously, Penn State has been a team that has yet to break into that championship tier yet, but um, at this point, it now feels like they may never. And we floated a little bit last week talking about firing James Franklin and moving on. Like, what do you really do? Like, but I think now those conversations become really real. Um, I got to give some credit to UCLA. Um, th- this is definitely the best game that they've played. Nico Iamalieva, he uh he was balling, bro. He looked like a true dual threat quarterback. That was the best game I've seen from him in a while. Even when he was at Tennessee, he was didn't light the world up with his arm, but he just made plays with his legs, took what the defense gave him, was smart with the ball, didn't turn the ball over a single time. Uh, Stats 17 for 24, only 166 yards passing, but he threw two touchdowns. And he carried the ball for 16 times, 128 yards, and three touchdowns. So five total touchdowns on the day. Um, Almost 300 yards total. That was a great performance. And then Penn State, man, they a lot of the same. Just that offense. Just, I mean, you got somebody, Katron Allen, averaging 6.3 yards per carry in this game, and he only touched the ball 8 times. 8 times. Meanwhile, Drew Aller is attempting 30 passes. Like, Penn State's game plan just didn't make sense to me. And I don't want to discredit the players because they were out there, they were playing hard, they were able to fight their way back into this game. But it almost feels like the coaches quit, like on the players. Like, it just felt like they just didn't really care too much about this game. They were just like, our helmet, because the helmet that we put on, we're automatically going to win this game. And man, UCLA is supposed to just roll over and die. And like, that's unacceptable from a program like Penn State. I think there's some serious questions that need to be asked over in Happy Valley. And um, this is one of the worst losses of the year, for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. To me, this game is more about Penn State than UCLA.
For sure.
I mean, this team, like you said, they thought that they could just come out there and win a game because of the name on their helmet. I mean, and this just goes to show you that no matter who you're playing against, you have to try to win. Um, you know, I honestly blame James Franklin for everything in regards to this game. They should be able to beat this team without throwing a pass. I mean, this UCLA was clear and it had the worst Power Four team. I mean, they were in the hundreds in every statistical category. Like, this is just ridiculous. I mean, there's FCS teams better than UCLA. This is really just sad. And you know, I knew it was cooked when James Franklin starts making excuses at the press conference after the game about how, they didn't handle the last game that well, and it was a long travel and all this and that. It's like, yo, Ohio State went to Washington, just went all the way to Washington and won their game. Oregon came to your
Oregon just
house,
came to Penn State.
came
Yeah,
to your
what?
house
Right.
across the
Oregon just
country
beat. Yeah, that's silly. That's silly.
and beat y'all. Like the travel is not an excuse, you know.
Yeah.
And
Everybody has to deal with it. I think it is an excuse and it's dumb,
right,
and these conferences should not be these national things like that, but everybody deals with it. And again, like you just mentioned, Ohio State just traveled. Oregon literally just came to your house and whooped you. What are you
it's
talking about,
crazy,
dude?
bro.
Yeah.
And like of course this team didn't live up to the hype
No.
or anything like that. Like I don't think that their players were as good as people thought they were going to be. And honestly, I honestly am a little bit mad at myself for not having as good of a read on that. I think I kind of just assumed, preseason that Penn State was going to be a contender, maybe not a true national championship contender, but a team that would make the playoffs, because of what happened last year. And, we know they did have the weakest route in the playoffs, but they did win two playoff games and they were returning pretty much all of their important players. But, you know, that's kind of been the theme of the year. This year is experience doesn't necessarily mean better than next year because, like what we're seeing, the two poster boys of that this year being Clemson and Penn State, and both teams fell flat on their face. You know, like I think us as fans and media just need to understand that we need to actually look at what these teams have and who's coming back because I think a lot of the people that Penn State lost were more important than we thought. Like in Abdul Carter, who was a true game wrecker, in college. You know,
Yeah. Penn
like
State has one of those types every year. I feel like they don't have one of those this year.
yeah, they don't have one right now. Um, it's just and then it's like a lot of places I think they regressed. Their O line's not really blocking that well. Um, their running backs aren't really doing it. And, you mentioned Katron Allen. Like, yes, Katron Allen should be getting more carries than Nick Singleton. He's not doing it this year. He's not doing it this year. Point blank. Your wide receivers are not good. They're just not good. Like, I don't really blame the coordinators as much, but in a way, I kind of do because they still were not putting the team in position. Like, after a certain point, it seemed like they didn't even adjust to what was happening during the game.
Yeah.
They got down
UCLA
pretty
scored their
early.
first 5 possessions in a row, scored.
Right. Like they got down pretty early. It was like 17-0. And then
It's
from that
31
point,
to 7, I think, at one point.
yeah, like at that point you can't really play your game. You know, like you can't really run the ball as much. You have to throw it to try to keep into the game, you know. But at the same time, they were not getting stops on defense. They were not getting stops. It's like, yeah, the offense started scoring, but the defense wasn't getting stops.
Yep.
And they had the I think there was a fumble. UCLA did the
Yep, they
onside
fumbled.
kick in the beginning. Like
Yep.
like UCLA played that game like they was trying to win. And it was like it was crazy to see this coaching staff that's cobbled together. They
Yeah, shout out
fired
to the OC, right? What is the
yeah, like they fired the head coach, fired both the coordinators. A new OC comes in
he's like
that
30.
doesn't even, has never called plays before. He's in the press conference after the game saying that he wasn't getting the plays in fast enough because he was
He
he
forgot
wasn't even
to
used to
use
wearing a
the headset.
headset. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like he's got the mic up, he's trying to talk, and the mic not even on his face, and he's like, "Yo, I gotta figure out how to do this," and he's literally learning on the fly against a top 10 ranked team
And put
with the
42 on
worst
him.
team in the
40
country.
ball.
Gave him 40.
They were
This is
10 for
embarrassing.
they were 10 for 16 on third down.
This is
Time of
embarrassing.
possession, They led 39 minutes and 17 seconds to 20 minutes and 43 seconds. They
It's
won the
embarrassing.
turnover margin, like you mentioned. They had less penalties. They almost doubled Penn State's rushing yards and their attempts. That was a that was domination.
It's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing. You know, they spent all this money on the coordinator, defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, and it's like, okay, we're just gonna do what Ohio State did, but you don't have the players that Ohio State had. You don't have a safety like Caleb Downs that solves a lot of problems. Like
Right.
like that man playing the most important position in Nick Saban's defense as a true freshman shows what type of player he is. Not only physically but mentally being able to handle all of that because that takes a lot, and especially doing it at that young age, and then going to Ohio State and basically continuing that over there, being the best defensive player in the country. Like, like just because you took the guy from over there doesn't mean you're going to get the same thing. You need those players as well. Like when's the last time we even seen a safety that was comparable to Caleb
Out of
Downs
Penn State.
from anywhere, from
Oh,
anywhere, from
right,
any
right.
team?
Oh, okay. You're just saying in general. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from any
He's
team. When
special,
have we
right?
ever seen it?
He's one of one. That's your point. Yeah.
Yeah, like in my lifetime, I don't like we've seen a lot of good
Minka
safeties, of
Fitz.
course.
I mean, there's Minka Fitzpatrick. I mean, there's a few guys that I
He
can think
wasn't like
of.
Caleb Downs though. He wasn't like Caleb Downs. Maybe in the NFL, he's obviously having a great NFL career, but college, I don't think he was like Caleb Downs, bro. I really don't. Like, I think he's on another level, honestly. Like that man was a true freshman, like insane. But I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned here. Like, you know, you spend a lot of money on the coordinator, like I said. You try to go out in the portal and get these wide receivers, but they aren't even good. Trevor Pena, that man is not like Trevor Pena. Was it Kyron Hudson? They don't get separation. They did not. They barely even caught passes against Oregon. All the you do realize I might have said it after that game, but our corners did not give up a catch. Every wide receiver that caught a pass was on like a safety or a linebacker, and they would be like screen passes, yeah, behind the line of scrimmage catches. You know what I'm saying? Like we did not give up a catch, bro, in terms of corners. Like they just don't. They're not that good. They're not that good. And then Drew Aller, like I don't even think he was the problem in this game. He was the same player, same player.
Which is a problem, but I hear what you're saying.
Right. It's a problem in the grand scheme of things,
Mm.
but in regards to this game,
He
Drew
wasn't.
Aller was the
He
same
didn't lose
player.
them the game,
Like
right?
you should very well be able to win this game with Drew Aller. Like what are we talking about?
Yeah. Yep.
How do you not win this game? It is so embarrassing. Like I honestly, and I think, and this also goes into coaching because I think that they allowed this team all off season to buy into that
Drink its
message
own
and that
Kool
and
Aid,
that narrative. Yep, to that they're supposed to be something that because they're bringing back all these people and they tried to bring in these receivers in the portal and they got Jim Knowles that something is supposed to happen and that's just not true. When you look at these 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 coordinators, especially on defense, it takes a few years for not only for the players to get comfortable with a defensive scheme, but to get the type of players that fit that scheme. This is year one of Jim Knowles. You know, just look at our team like 2022 with Landing. Look at our defense compared to now. You know, we had when you have continuity with the coordinator, like Tosh Lupo has been there the whole time. Now we've gotten the players that, obviously they want to get and they it fits their scheme and it works. So, like just because you got that guy, like, bro, like I said, you don't have Caleb Downs. You allow yourselves to drink your own Kool-Aid. And, you got to think they were thinking that since January, even going back to last season, because they won the two playoff games. They felt like, oh, we're right there. But no, you really weren't. You got lucky because of the messed up seeding. And I'm not afraid to say it. The best two teams last year played in the Rose Bowl. I'm not afraid to say it. And, Penn State got lucky. They got to play SMU and Boise State. Like this is the same old stuff where they won the games that they had a significant talent advantage in. And, they have the narrative, okay, we're right there. We're gonna, go all in. We're gonna spend, was it $3 million on a coordinator, and we're gonna try to load up for this season. And everybody thinks that they're just supposed to be right in the mix, and it's just not true. And I know you can't really compare anybody to Saban, but when you just think about national championships, that's who I'm going to compare myself to, in regards to that, because we've seen him win multiple in multiple eras of the sport. And he was a coach that would not allow a team to drink its own Kool-Aid. It doesn't matter how good you are, how
Rat poison.
what recruiting ranking you have, what type of guys you have returning, the stats that you may have had. You still have to show up and do the right things every day. Last year it doesn't matter. You have to show up now, and he would nip that in the bud so fast. Like, no, you're not gonna win anything. You don't deserve anything. Nothing is supposed to happen. You have to do the right things and make it happen. And I think when you have a team that's telling themselves this for, you know, months and months and months, and then you kind of have everything leading up to this whiteout game, right? Like everything is leading up to the whiteout. You're playing these cupcake teams beforehand, and then you have it come crashing down at home in front of all those fans in a season where you thought you were going to go really far. I think it really affects them. And not only, and I think it being against Oregon has even more of an effect because the narrative with them was always, okay, they go 10-2, they lose to Ohio State and Michigan. And obviously Ohio State and Michigan were traditionally the two powers in the Big Ten, right? Like the two most winningest programs, the ones that have won national championships, yada yada yada. So it's like if you lose to Ohio State, it's kind of like the status quo, right? Like you can accept that as a fan or even a player. But Oregon comes in, they're the new kids on the block, not just in a conference, but still I think in college football, we're not a traditional blue blood. Like, yeah, we're like a power now, but you know, if you're our parents' age, you didn't grow up with Oregon being in the national spotlight. So, to these people, they're kind of like, well, we can't lose to these guys, right? And not only did they lose, they lost at home. And I really think that, especially it being a double overtime game, it was like super emotional. You know, they were just stuck on it. And these coaches did not really get the team ready for the next week. Like, if you're those coaches, you have to stress to the team, like, okay, this happened, but all of our goals are still in front of us. There's no reason to be dwelling on this game when, we lost to a good team. We were right there. It was double overtime. Like, if the ball bounces a different way, we could have won that game. Like, this is the type of stuff they should be telling their team. They should be trying to motivate them to play well against UCLA. You know what? You're mad that you lost. Well, take it out on UCLA, you know? Um, but I just think everything from top down in Penn State is just messed up because not only did the coaches push a horrible message, I think in my opinion, at least I'm guessing, but it seemed like they just weren't prepared in regards to the game plan. Like, the quarterback run was killing them all game and they made no adjustments. It's like, once you get to the second half, if you don't change yourself, like, what are we doing? You're just letting the same thing happen over and over again. And like, it's just malpractice. It's malpractice. Like there was more Penn State fans in the crowd than UCLA fans in LA, and y'all just laid a complete egg, bro. Y'all just laid a complete egg. So definitely got to give some credit to UCLA. I mean, they played the game like they was trying to win. Like I said, they was letting Nico loose. They did the onside kick. Like they was playing with fire. They didn't care that it was Penn State. They gave it their all, and they were able to come away with a W, man. Because and Penn State just fell flat on their face, man. It's like, even though it ain't sad for me, but it's sad to see because this is a team that thought that they would go to the promised land, and it's just not true. And I'm gonna keep saying it. Experience does not equal progress. We're seeing that with multiple teams. Sometimes you gotta go with talent over the experience, man. And you're seeing it. Look at the contrast between Oregon and Penn State, where you have freshmen all over the place, because quite frankly, they're the best players. They're the most talented players, and even though they're young, they're still playing with maturity. They're not making stupid freshman mistakes and all this and that. And you have Penn State, who's such an old team, but it's the same old story. It's the same guys. You need new. Sometimes you need new blood, new faces, new attitudes. You know, it might do them some good to play a younger guy who hasn't lost to Ohio State 3 times, because that stuff can affect you, man. And now they're in a position where they're in, where they started off the season ranked number 2, and now they're unranked, and we just got to October. So I don't know, like we shouldn't even be doing no more playoff talk or anything like that in regards to Penn State.
That was going to be my next point. I think it is pretty much over for them based on the product that they've put on the field. I will say this though, this was definitely a canon event in for Penn State football. Um, I think in a few years down the line, whichever direction that this goes, because I think technically and literally it could go in either direction still. Um,
I mean, technically they can still make the playoffs, but
and
I
that was my
just
next point. I would not bet my money on it
yeah,
at
this
all.
this is over. And
But
honestly, I kind of
again,
want to redo my, maybe for next episode I'll make a new playoff bracket, but
yeah, we said we were gonna do. We're halfway through, so we'll do it for the next episode later on this week.
yeah.
But but yeah, I think this is definitely a canon event. And we're gonna look back on Penn State football in 2 years, 3 years, in the state of that program, and it's all gonna lead back to this 2 game stretch of Oregon and UCLA. And whether that means James Franklin is gone, or whether this awakens the beast in Penn State and they rip off 8 straight wins or whatever, how many games left, and make it to the playoffs or whatever. I think this is definitely the moment for for this era of Penn State football, at least. And not really where you want to be right now.
Yeah. And
Not feeling inspired.
I seen Josh Pate say that too about the Oregon game. He's like, after they won, he was like, it's either gonna Penn State's either gonna go in two directions. They're gonna either go up or go down. And it looks like they're going down, man. Like
Yeah, I mean, if I was
they
a betting
really they
man,
yeah,
shit,
they really got beat twice by Oregon.
they did get beat twice. That's what I started
Like,
off the segment talking about, and that's not good. Good teams don't get beat twice by the same
yeah.
team.
And and I got a question for you. I mean, would you fire James Franklin after that?
Um, I'll tell you this. There's a reason on the 2 versions of my coaching list that I've dropped for the Florida Gators, James Franklin has not been on that list, either version.
Oh,
And
I definitely would not want him as an SEC team unless I'm like Arkansas.
he will not be making an appearance anytime soon. I mean, again, I don't think Florida being who Penn State is right now is necessarily a bad thing compared to who we've been for the past 20 years, you know what I mean? But um I don't, yeah, no. I think
Yeah,
maybe here's the thing, right? Cuz like James Franklin, he's better than like 90% of coaches in college football still. He
yeah,
just, there's just something about that top echelon, that top tier of coaches that he just cannot. break through consistently. Like even if he
Yeah.
does eventually get that elusive win, like down the road, like you need to be able to do it year in, year out, game in, game out to really give your team that chance.
Well, for
And
him to
so,
get that win, that one time they won the Big Ten, he had
mhm,
Saquon Barkley.
exactly, literally
Like, what are
generational.
we? Yeah, what are we talking about? Like,
Yeah.
this man had the best running back in the NFL. Like, come on.
Yeah, so point being, I think that like maybe at a place like Florida or maybe at one of these other jobs, it could give him the spark that he needs and a new situation, a breath of fresh air. You know that can always be a thing. But um, again, a lot of times people are just who they are, and maybe he is just meant to be a really good coach, not a great coach,
Yeah,
and that's what we're seeing right now for Penn State. I mean, again, people can still change. I mean, just because whatever he's been doing for all these years is not working. So he's has to either I think the buyout's like 50 million or 60 million.
it's 56 million. It might. I think it might be
Jeez.
48 million if they don't fire him
Yeah,
until
so
January 1st.
I'm gonna be real. I think barring catastrophe, like I think even if they like lose to Ohio State and Indiana, for example, but then they went out the rest of their games and they finished 8-4. I think he would still keep his job. I don't think people will be happy about it, but I think he would
Yeah,
still
I
be.
don't. I don't. I don't think they're gonna fire him.
He
I
only
mean,
gets fired if
personally,
they go 2-10 or something like that, and
yeah, yeah. Like I mean, even then, it's just so much money. I don't think
that's
they're
so
gonna
much money,
want to
bruh.
pay.
That's so
Like,
much money. It's
personally, if
not even
money
my
was
money,
no object, I would fire him.
right?
If there was no money to account for, but yeah, I don't think they're gonna fire him, and I'm pretty sure Jim Knowles' buyout is like 9 million as well. So, like
Sheesh.
like they've ponied up a huge amount of money for this, and it's just not working. And I think they're just gonna have to eat it for a
Yeah.
while until everybody's contract runs out, because this is
Oof.
it's just nasty, bro.
That's
It's
tough.
just nasty.
That's
And I
tough.
and like I just think I honestly, and James Franklin has been there for so long, I just feel like maybe he's just getting a little stale. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No. Yeah. That's my whole point. Like, I could definitely see that being a possibility, and like getting him somewhere else will do more for him and more for Penn State. Will
Yeah,
help Penn State and help him. Like, it could be a
right,
win-win.
right. And like I even just look at the UCLA game. They came out doing that same like super conservative play style. Like they was playing like they was sleepwalking in the beginning of that game, man.
Yeah,
Just doing
they
that
were.
same boring offense, not trying to push the ball downfield or score points. It was just like it seemed like they wasn't even trying to win in the beginning, man. And like I said, they got down three scores early, and then now the game you can't really even really play your normal game. But like I think all that is just it just shows what kind of coach James Franklin is. Like
Yeah.
along with the message, letting the team buy into the championship hype and all that. It's like yo, like you just can't do it. And like, I'm gonna keep contrasting with other teams because you look at a team like Oregon, like we won the Big Ten last year, but we got blown out on the biggest stage. Like that was our first time making the playoffs since Mariota's last year, and like that quite frankly, that was embarrassing. You know, and we were a better team than Penn State, but you didn't see us buying into like, oh, we supposed to be this or supposed to be that. Like no, like that Rose Bowl loss, like that lit a fire under our coaches' behinds. You know what I'm saying? Do you think that Coach Landon don't think about that every day? Every day? You think he ain't thinking about that before he goes and plays a Penn State or whatever team? Like, yo, like we had to get better because this is what happened to us on the biggest stage. We're trying to accomplish our goal of winning a national championship. This is what happened to us. Um, so you like it's just a different mentality. You can't sit up there and say this is supposed to happen or act like this, act like that because you got certain people coming back. It's just not. It's just not the way things work. Like Saban would never allow a team to be like that. Never, because that's just a recipe for disaster. And we're seeing it firsthand. You lost to the worst team in the country, man. I just don't understand. And all right, I got another question. Is this the worst loss of our lifetime?
No, no,
You don't
no,
think
no.
so?
It's the worst loss of the season, but it's.
You don't think so? Because
I watched Florida lose to Georgia Southern, and they didn't even complete a pass in that game.
that is
I,
true. That is true.
I've
But I will
seen
say this.
Florida State lose to Jacksonville State. Like I've seen
But
some
I will say
nasty
this.
losses.
Were those teams ranked in the top 10? No.
Um,
Wasn't that and we did when y'all lost to Georgia Southern, wasn't that like some of the worst years of Florida football?
yeah, I'm pretty sure we were 4-8 that year, but
Yeah, yeah. Like I think this is the worst. This is one of the worst losses in the history of our sport, maybe
I
in our
don't know.
lifetime, because first of all, I seen a stat. A team that's ranked in the top 10 has only lost to a team that was 0-4 or worse 5 times in the history of our sport, including Penn State just now. The last time it happened was like 1985. So there was like games going back to like 1940 that what I'm saying,
That's
like where it
nasty
happened.
work.
So we're literally talking about something from World War II, you know? Like literally, it was like 1941. World War II was not over yet. We were smack in the middle of World War II, and and that was like one of the few times a top 10 team lost to a team that was 0-4 or worse, and they probably weren't
I
even playing 12 games back then.
The only thing I'll
So
say is why I don't think it's that bad is because the mirage of Penn State kind of dissipated last week. Like, yeah, Penn State is ranked number 7, but like everybody
yeah,
that
yeah,
watches college football and has eyes, like we know Penn State wasn't fantastic. I mean, we all obviously still expected Penn State to win this game and cover whatever the spread was.
yeah.
But I don't think this is not like some like Alabama versus Vandy wasn't like
Alabama versus Vandy was not this bad,
that wasn't that
and
bad. No.
I even think about like Michigan losing to Appalachian State. Like that Michigan team ended up sucking.
Yeah.
Um,
But
like
what
I
if
just
UCLA
think
turns out to be good? Like, what if they win 7 games or 6 games or something?
that would be crazy.
Would that change
I
your
don't
mind? I
think it's
mean, I
gonna
doubt it.
happen.
I mean, they can't. Yeah, they have like
I
no
feel like
coaches and
they
stuff.
still gonna end up being like 1-11 or 2-10. Like they really
Yeah.
might go 1-11, and their only win is against the top 10 team. And speaking of top 10 wins, Coach Skipper is tied with James Franklin for top
Yeah, I
10 wins
saw
in the
that.
Big Ten.
I saw that. That's
So how
crazy
about
work,
how about
fam.
that?
That is crazy work.
How about that?
Oh, Penn State. Penn State. But let's move on. Let's move on because at the same time as Penn State was fighting for their lives, another top 10 team was doing the same exact thing. Texas, oh Texas, they lose to bye week Billy. I'll tell you this, man. Billy Napier after a bye week, line him up against Prime Saban, man. That guy could coach his ass off after a bye week. I don't know what it is, but Florida always seems to just yeah. I don't know when after the bye week. Texas had a bye week too. So I didn't really think that it was going to be that big of a difference, but Florida looked like a completely different team. Our offense, our game plan, um, was finally made sense. Still was a little bit heavy on the 12 personnel and the reliance on tight ends, but at this point, like Billy Napier is not going to change his offensive philosophy in the middle of the season. Like that's just not going to happen. But it was just a lot more clean. The execution was finally there. The play calling, the feel for the game, the timing of the play calls, they were good. The players, again, especially on the offense side of the ball, because the defense, we'll talk about the defense in a second, but the offense has been the major problem, and everything was just working for us almost. It felt like Jaden Ball, he carried the ball 27 times. I think that's the most he's carried the ball all year. And he gave us a great performance, rushed for over 100 yards, scored a touchdown. DJ Lagway. He had a great game as well. Finally shaking off some of that rust that we've been seeing early on in the season from him. Still had that one interception that I know he really wants back, but can't really complain. And then obviously the freshman wide receiver duo, Dallas Wilson, Vernell Brown. Those two guys are just freaks. Dallas Wilson, he just brings a whole other element to the offense. It just makes you wonder, like, if he was healthy for the first 4 games, do we win any of those games? Are any of those games different? I
Yes,
don't know. Yeah,
yes,
it feels like maybe, but
yes.
um,
Bro, that man is uncoverable. And when you have a receiver like that, it
yeah,
opens it up for everybody else. Because I even saw everybody else making some good catches and getting a chance to get the ball. Because yeah, that man is a true difference maker. And honestly, watching him just makes me sad because we know where he was supposed to be, man. But
at least the son, man, he right where he's supposed to be, bro. He right where
that's
he
in the
belongs,
past.
man.
Listen, man, the way it's going, your coach might not be there come December, so there's still a chance, you know. But for now, you know, he's going off of Florida, and you know what? I'm happy because they also made another team's dreams come crashing down, and that is the Texas Longhorns. And this is another team that I'm mad about because I feel like we should have saw this one coming as well. Like, what good players do they have on this team on offense? What players jump out to you? Nobody. Their O
Nobody.
line's not very good. They lost a starting tackle like before the season. And we talked about it on the podcast,
You
but I think
did
we just assumed they had another good player
right.
that was going to come in. And, they just couldn't block. They just could not block. That was the story of this game.
Yeah.
It wasn't even really Arch stinking it up. Like, I don't think he
No,
played horrible.
he was
He threw
decent.
two bad interceptions. I mean, the one interception was really bad, though. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know who he was throwing to on that one pass where he just threw it over right to the safety. Threw it like
Right.
the receiver wasn't even looking for the ball. Like I don't know what he was
The
looking at
safety didn't
unless
even move. It just hit him right in the
yeah,
chest.
he just backed straight up and the ball came to him. Like,
Yeah.
easiest interception in the world. And I don't know if the receiver ran a wrong route or something. Maybe that's what happened, but yeah, that pass went to nobody. And that was the story for me. Like they just couldn't block. Your defense was going crazy. And it's wild to see that be the strength of your team. And you know, that defense. Let me tell you something. If Tosh ever leaves to be a head coach, I want your coordinator. I'm gonna be honest. Y'all is cooking right now, bro. Y'all is
Yeah.
cooking right now. And
Yeah.
like this man Arch was getting hit every play, bro.
Every
This man could not even get any time.
36 pressures on the
Yo,
game.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. And like I said, like I don't really blame Arch and because Texas they can't run the ball. Their receivers they just look average to me. I mean, uh, Wingo is pretty good. Like he's got speed, so he could get over the top if you're caught sleeping. But I mean, that's pretty much it. Just don't get beat over the top by him, and everything else will pretty much take care of itself. Um, and you have a quarterback that hasn't been playing well all year, and it's not going to help him if he's under duress literally the entire game. Um, and then on the other side, you got DJ Lagway who looked really good. You can see the talent on him. I mean, there was one pass he kind of just sidearm flicked his wrist, to a guy running across the middle, and like you could just see the talent on these players on this team. Like, there's no reason for y'all to be 1-3 coming into this game.
Yeah, that's why it's
Like
so
I
frustrating, man. That's
yeah,
why
like
it's
I
so
really think
frustrating.
that if y'all had Dallas Wilson, even with Billy Napier's coaching blunders, y'all would have won that game because there's nobody on that team that could cover him. He was good for at least a touchdown in that game. Um, so I mean, it sucks, but it's like y'all just gotta keep trying to win as many games as you can because you just don't want the season to be a complete wash. And yeah, man, I think that was a pretty good performance from Florida. And I'm kind of mad I didn't pick y'all to cover. I'm pretty sure I picked Texas because like I
Well,
said,
we
just
talked
drinking.
about it. I think we both
Yeah,
were both like we want to pick Florida to cover, but
yeah,
why would we ever trust a Billy Napier led team?
yeah, yeah.
Um, and I mean, it got close for a little bit. I think Billy Napier are kind of similar to Mario Cristobal. They both have this thing where, you
Bro, he
know,
did call
when
a
they
dumb timeout, didn't he?
um after it kind of got explained to me, it wasn't as dumb. Basically, the rule was like if a helmet comes off under 2 minutes, there needs to be a 10-second runoff. And then obviously because Texas had the ball, or because Texas was on defense and was trying to get the ball back, they were able to decline that 10-second runoff. And because the player's helmet came off, he has to stay off the field for that next play. That
Yeah,
was our starting right tackle whose helmet came off. In order for him to come back into the game, Billy Napier had to call a timeout. Because Texas declined that 10-second runoff, the clock was going to stop no matter what. So it was either the clock was going to stop no matter what, and it was either play the play without our starting right tackle or call a timeout, waste a timeout, and get that tackle back into the game. So when they explain it that way, okay, it makes a little bit more sense. I think the commentators are a little bit confused, but I'm more just so saying just kind of the play calling and just I remember though after one of the Arch Manning interceptions, we get the ball and then we do three straight runs at Colin Simmons and he makes the play three times in a row and then we punt. And it's just like I just feel Billy gets a little bit conservative and he's like, all right, we got a lead. Now we just got to kind of sit on it, run the ball, play good defense. And I think the strength of this team is the defense.
yeah.
So I'm not mad at you putting the game in the hands of our defense and having them be the ones to win it. But I think that can get you into trouble when you kind of turtle up on offense, especially when you've been struggling all year. You would think you would want to continue to run your offense, continue to work things out against an SEC opponent like Texas. Um, but I know right now with how he is on the hot seat, he is just trying to secure as many wins as possible to kind of keep his job. I don't necessarily think that this win saves his job. Um,
Well, what do you mean? He has a better top 10 record than James Franklin.
I know that's wild. This is another, I think his third or fourth top 10 win here at Florida, and it's just frustrating because you see Florida has a pretty can have a high ceiling, but they also just have a very low floor, and they're more closer to that floor consistently than they are to that ceiling. But I'm not going to start celebrating and making these claims about Florida and say, oh yeah, well maybe we got Texas A&M next week on the road.
Yeah, it's another game that y'all very well can lose.
Not very well. I think we are going to lose that game.
You think
Uh,
you do you just think you're gonna lose? You don't
we
have no
should
faith?
we should lose that game. No, I don't. I don't have any faith in us going on the road and beating Texas A&M this year. No. But again, we don't have to get too much into that. I want to celebrate this W and enjoy it while I can because I don't know how many more of these we'll get this year. But um, yeah, man, Florida put it together. This was a good, feel good game to watch. Complete special teams got involved, blocked that punt. Um, Florida's defense is dominant, and then finally Florida's offense. DJ Lagway really looked like the DJ Lagway that we thought we were going to get. So if that guy's playing good ball, and if that guy's back to the DJ Lagway that we thought we were going to get, then I will give Florida a better chance in some of these games than I originally would have. But I don't believe in Billy Napier. So
Yeah, I'm not gonna
good,
lie, I don't really believe in him either.
yeah, good win for the Gators, and like you mentioned for Texas, um, yeah, they're done. They're done. They still got to play. They play Oklahoma next week. I mean,
They're
they
probably
could
gonna lose that.
they might win that. They might win that.
I honestly I think they're gonna lose it even without John Mateer. The way they're looking, bro. Oklahoma, and we'll get into it more. So this is all I'm gonna say. They defense might be better than y'all defense.
I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't be
And
mad at that take.
they have a defensive coach, bro. He's going to eat that quarterback alive. He like that's one
Yeah,
thing about defensive coaches. They eat young quarterbacks alive. Quarterbacks with
yeah,
no experience, especially ones that aren't even playing well, he's going to eat them alive. Because who did they play before that had a new quarterback and I was like, well, I picked the other team.
Auburn.
Yeah, it was Auburn, and I was like, yeah, they like he completely ate them alive. And they got talent.
Yeah,
Auburn got better wide receivers than Texas.
yeah, and they destroyed Auburn.
Yeah, like I think Oklahoma got a really good chance to win that game, but We're gonna get into that a little bit
Yeah,
later.
Texas running backs against Florida, 11 carries for 15 yards.
They only ran the ball 11 times.
They had 26 carries, but 15 of those 26 carries were Arches. He had 37 yards.
Jesus.
So he led the team in rushing. Their top running back, Wisner, had 8 carries for 11 yards and a touchdown.
That's
So
crazy.
Florida absolutely dominated them, turned them one dimensional. And you like you mentioned, you saw that Florida was able to just not have
Oh,
to
by
worry
the
about the
way,
run game and just pin their ears back and rush the passer and send
by the
crazy
way,
exotic pressures and blitzes and simulations and all this stuff. And it really affected Arch. And again, like you mentioned, I thought Arch wasn't horrible. I think he was just kind of a product of the offense right
yeah,
now.
yeah. I mean, I think they have a lot more problems than Arch. And by the way, their running backs only had 9 carries. They gave a wide receiver the ball twice on
Right.
catches. So
So
it was only 9 carries for 11
yikes.
yards.
Yikes.
Jesus Christ. Like yeah, like Texas was so overrated coming into the season, man. Like we need to do a better job, and obviously myself included, but I'm just talking about the national media in general. We need to do a better job of, not hyping up certain teams because this is just ridiculous. And I'm be honest, I've heard certain people talk about Texas, but it wasn't many. It wasn't many that thought that they would be like this. I don't know if I ever saw anybody think that they would be like this, that they would lose to a team like Florida that seemed like they were dead in the water, before. And you know, I just
Yeah.
I just think we need to, like I said, actually look at what these teams have, and if there's no proof of these players being super successful, stop saying that they're going to be a contender, okay? Because there's no proof. When you think about what teams from last year are doing compared to now, the preseason ranked team should have been Ohio State number 1, Notre Dame number 2, and maybe like Oregon number 3. Why were Texas and Penn State ranked number 1 and 2? Now I get it. Oregon had a lot of new players, so I really don't give a crap about preseason rankings. I'm just saying for the sake of argument, like stop hyping up these teams that we don't know about. But it is what it is. Texas is falling flat on their face. They still got a lot of tough games on their schedule that they can lose. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think Texas or Penn State is making the playoffs.
Yeah,
I
it's
really
it's
don't.
it's looking dire for both of those teams. Um, for
And all
sure.
that
The
Arch
SEC,
Manning.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead.
I was just say the SEC is it's really like the NFL now, man. Anybody could be anybody. It's crazy. Like
Yeah, that conference is so deep.
every single week you have to show up. And I don't think Texas was not like I think Texas was ready for Florida. Or they
I just
weren't
don't
ready
think
for
they're that
Florida,
good.
but
I just
yeah, they're
don't
just
think they're
not
that
that
good.
good. Right.
I just
Agree.
really don't think they're that good. And
I
all that
agree.
Arch Manning draft stuff is over. I don't want to hear nobody talk about no draft. He's clearly not a three and done player.
Yeah,
And
no.
at this rate, he gonna be getting in a 3 point stance, playing tight end with somebody. I
Yeah, I
don't want to hear
just
that. But
uh,
and this is the other thing too. No quarterback that was ever that guy, like ever sat for 2 years. Not behind someone like Quinn Ewers. If he was so good, he would have beat Quinn Ewers out. Like, yeah, we've seen like a Mac Jones, but who was Mac Jones sitting behind? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
it's different. It's different. Like Texas was better with Quinn Ewers. They should have kept him. They should have kept him. They should have told him to come back.
Yeah, Arch.
They
Um,
owe us an apology. First of all, Texas and Penn State owe us an apology, and they owe Quinn Ewers an apology.
all right, let's move on to another SEC battle. Alabama was looking for revenge as Vandy came into T Town, and revenge is exactly what they got, winning that game 30-14. Pretty decisive clean victory for Alabama. Want to give credit to Vandy because Vandy was in this game. This was a little bit of a backdoor cover for Alabama, which really hurt
You were right
for
about
me.
that.
Yeah, in the picks. But um, tough loss for Vandy. I just felt like they shot themselves in the foot, man. We'll talk about Alabama in a second because I think Alabama did pretty much everything right in this game. But early in the game, I just thought Vandy had so much momentum and really had a chance to kind of quiet the crowd. I don't know if you remember, but they were driving. It was 7-0. Uh, they had they had just got the ball back. They were driving. I think Diego Pavia fumbled the ball inside the 10-yard line. Like I was going to be either 14-0 or at minimum 10-0 um, going into the second quarter. And Alabama gets the ball back. They drive right down the field. It's 7-7. The crowd's back into it. Momentum's on Alabama's side, and it's a brand new ball game at that point. I think Vandy really had to step on Alabama's neck early again, which they started to do. They got out to a really hot start, but Alabama was really able to settle the ship, man. And I got to give credit to the quarterback, Ty Simpson, man. He's been looking like the best quarterback to me, or one of the best quarterbacks to me so far this season. Did have his first turnover in this game. We talked about how he was playing pretty much turnover free, and how I thought that was Vanderbilt's best chance was to turn Ty Simpson over. Um, but he didn't really let that affect him. Locked back in, was able to distribute the ball to his plethora of playmakers on the outside. Jam Miller, he had his best game of the season, 22 carries, 136 yards, and a touchdown. Um, Alabama's defense really impressed me in this game as well. Just made Diego Pavia's life uncomfortable as much as they could. I thought Vandy's D line played pretty well in this game as well. So shout out to Vandy's D line, um, especially when it comes to pass rushing. But Alabama just more talented, just better than Vandy this year. I think obviously a lot of the win last year was just the shock factor and Bama not realizing that Vanderbilt's a real program now that plays real
Yeah, yeah.
football. They were much better prepared this year. And again, I think Vandy definitely gave them a good shot. I don't think Vandy rolled over at for in any stretch of the imagination, but um, Alabama is not the same team that they were week one.
Yeah, man. I think the story of this game is really Diego Pavia turning over. I'm pretty sure he threw two
Yeah,
picks. He had a fumble.
two
I
fumbles,
mean,
two
yeah.
picks, two
See,
fumbles. I think.
when you're in a game like that against a team like Alabama, you just can't turn it over. Like they're probably gonna take advantage of that, and like that's really what it was for me. I just like I think the game was pretty competitive.
Yeah, it
I
was.
I really think Vandy could have won the game, but like I said, you turn the ball over, you're giving the ball to another team on a short field, so it's just tough, you know. So that was a nice backdoor cover by Bama. I mean, you did predict that, but I'll take it because I got an extra point in the picks. I think that's the only
Yeah,
one that I'm over you on this week.
yeah, it is
So you know, I'll take that. And yeah, man, I still think Vandy is a solid team. I still think they could,
for sure.
have a pretty good season. I mean, they might beat Texas at this rate. You never know. Um, so like this game doesn't really change my opinion about Vandy.
Nah,
I guess it kind of gives me more faith in Alabama because they've shown that they can win a dogfight. Um, so I mean, they won a dogfight against Georgia, but they're still in a tough game, and yeah, like I think until otherwise, this is weird for me to say. I think Alabama might be the best team in the SEC. I don't know. What do you think?
um,
Because I feel like there's probably about 8 teams that could beat each other,
right.
but
That's that. Yeah, I think what you're saying isn't crazy. Um, I feel like they could lose. So I don't want to say they're
right.
far and away the favorite or the best, but they are playing really good football right now. They have one of the better resumes with that one over Georgia. Now a pretty solid one over Vandy. Um, I still like Ole Miss, Texas A&M right now as two of the top teams in that conference. I still believe in Georgia, even though they lost. So I still think we need to see some of the season play out a little bit more. But I would say for sure, Alabama, they definitely probably have the best quarterback in the conference right now. And I think that'll take them a long way for sure. So let's talk about these next games. Texas Tech, they were on the road taking on a surprisingly strong Houston team this year, but not strong enough as Texas Tech handles business 35-11. That's a team that living up to the hype, man. They another one of those teams that was getting a lot of hype this offseason, and so far, so good. Kentucky, they go on the road and lose 35-14 to Georgia. While Cincinnati, man, Cincinnati goes and beats Iowa State 38-30. And one of the games of the days, to be honest, Cincinnati jumps out to a huge lead and then kind of chokes a little bit there in the second half. Iowa State comes all the way back, but Cincinnati is able to end Iowa State's undefeated record. Just very balanced. They have two running backs, Cincinnati, Evan Pryor and Tyree Walker. Those two guys can both play in the SEC, can both play in the Big Ten right now. I truly believe that. Um, really good players. They have a plethora of wide receivers. I don't think they have really one guy that stands out, but they have about four or five guys that I think Brendan Sorsby can trust. And then Sorsby himself, I don't think he's great, but I think he's good enough. I think he's definitely good enough to play in the Big 12 and for Cincinnati to continue to shake up that conference.
Yeah.
Uh, feels pretty good to have been right about one of these teams in the offseason because I was sure as hell wrong about plenty. So I need to win where I can get one. Um, although that's like a win and a loss because I was pretty high on Iowa State. I think I have had them going to the Big 12 championship game, which is
Yeah.
still a chance for them to do that, but tough loss there. Cincinnati, they're proven they're not that same old G5 team, man. They're a true Power Four team now, man. I was watching those boys play. They look like they look they didn't look small. I'll tell you that. They look physical. Who's the coach? Satterfield, Scott Satterfield. He got those
I think
boys.
so.
He has a good program going on over there. Um, some Big Ten action. Wisconsin, they lose to Michigan 24-10. While Notre Dame they beat Boise State 28-7. Illinois they go on the road and they beat Purdue 43-27. And Virginia another big win in overtime over Louisville. Just another pretty solid, complete performance. Virginia's playing complementary football, um, balance on offense, on defense, opportunistic, forcing turnovers. I think they took a touchdown back for a fumble back for a touchdown in this game, so scoring points on
Yeah, they did.
defense. Um, that was a good one against Louisville. Louisville started off a little bit slow in this one, I think, which kind of hurt them in the long run. But I don't think Louisville necessarily played bad. I thought they didn't run the ball as well as they wanted to, but I think you just give credit to Virginia for having a good plan against Isaac Brown.
Yeah, I think these are two of the better teams in the ACC.
Yeah,
Virginia is looking better than pretty much everybody thought, I think. But I think in terms of the team that's going to be playing against Miami for the ACC championship is going to be between Virginia, Louisville, and Georgia Tech.
yeah, I could definitely see that. Tony Elliott got his boys playing hard over at Virginia, man. One of those
Yep.
teams that kind of came out of nowhere this year, for sure. Um, Pitt, they started a true freshman. They sit Eli Holstein on the bench, and they call up Mason Heinschel. Heinschnall. I don't know how to pronounce that name, but he comes out and he delivers a solid performance, propelling Pitt to that 48-7 victory over Boston College. Clemson, they take on North Carolina in Chapel Hill, and they wipe the floor with the Tar Heels 38-10. Baylor, they survive a game against Kansas State, um, 35-34. Out here, Wake Forest, they go on the road and they beat Virginia Tech 30-23. Um, in an incredible comeback fashion, Washington beats Maryland 24-20.
Yo,
That
Maryland
game,
completely blew that.
yo, blew that, man. I'm glad you watched that game because I was sitting there watching that game just in utter disbelief. I mean,
Yeah,
it was like, I mean, Maryland was dominating that game. I mean, dominating that game for 2.5 quarters, and then Washington just completely flipped the script, and it was utter domination in the opposite way. It was a wild game.
yeah, they was just like a turtle going back in their shell, man. They just
Yeah.
completely
Mhm.
like, just lost it. I really don't understand. And it was at home.
Yeah.
Just
Had a
embarrassing,
decent
man.
crowd too. The crowd was into.
Yeah, I mean, they were 4-0 going into the game, so everybody's all excited to go, but you just can't have stuff like that. It's like I think Maryland still has a chance to go bowling, but it's gonna be tough from now on.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, bet. Um, I'm gonna let's just pick up from the next game. Did you hear
Yeah,
anything I was saying against Michigan State or Nebraska?
no, no.
Okay, so I'll pick it up from there. All right, three, two, one. All right, moving along. Michigan State, they travel to take on Nebraska. Nebraska got off to a hot start in this one, but Michigan State was able to settle in a little bit and make this game a bit more competitive. I thought Nebraska was going to run off with this one and kind of embarrass them, but Michigan State was able to settle down and show a good face. Um, Nebraska ultimately captures the victory, though. Colorado, they lose to TCU 21-35. TCU looking like a pretty solid team out there in the Big 12. Kansas, they go on the road and knock off UCF 27-20. Watch this game at all? I didn't get a chance to check this one out.
I watched a little bit of it. It was kind of rough for UCF. I mean, they quarterback Taven Jackson got hurt during
Right,
the game
right.
again.
Oh,
So it was
okay.
tough, but um, they were able to keep it close in the end with their backup, but they just weren't able to score a touchdown to tie in the end. So
Their quarterback got hurt last week too, right? Or 2 weeks
yeah, he
ago.
did. Yeah, the last when they played Kansas State, he also got knocked out during the game.
And they might need to
So
just hold him out for a couple weeks. I know that's not ideal, but
yeah, I mean,
having
yeah,
him just
because
go out there is
like I don't think there was much of a drop off with the backup anyway. So like I just yeah,
yeah,
like if he's not fully healthy, I mean I think it was different reasons why he got knocked out, but still he's like getting banged up. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, it was just a tough loss for the Knights, man. But I think they could still have a pretty solid season.
the final score that we are going to mention today is Duke after dark getting a win over Cal 45-21, putting the absolute smackdown on a pretty solid Cal team. This is a game that I was pretty interested in. I thought both of these teams were pretty even, but just not a great day for JKS. Turned the ball
Yeah.
over 3 times. Um, on the other hand, Darren Mensa didn't turn over the ball once, distributed to his playmakers on the outside. They ran the ball well. Just a pretty dominant performance from Duke.
Yeah, I was watching this a little bit and yeah, JKS, I mean you could see the talent on him, but I don't think Cal is very good and
No,
I don't know, I think
you're
he
not.
tries to force things. I
Hmm.
think he knows that the game kind of rests on him and
Right,
it's tough being a true freshman trying to carry a team like that. And Duke, they've been playing better recently, and Mensa has been playing better. Like Duke is still a solid team, and yeah, like I just think it's tough when you're in a position like JKS and you're trying to carry. And he was forcing things. I'm not gonna say he was wasn't
right,
his fault. It absolutely was, but I honestly think if he would have came to Oregon and sat, or anywhere else, not even just Oregon. Of course, I want him on my team because I could see he's talented. But if he would have not really worried about playing as a true freshman, I think you know he might have benefited from that. And this just goes back to the conversation like why are people so concerned with playing as a true freshman? It doesn't really help you in the long run. Just because you played as a true freshman, you have to get developed. Um, like Mac Jones is an NFL quarterback. He played for 1 year in
right.
college.
All right, then we will wrap up the reaction show right here. Then at least a lot of good games, a lot of upsets. I think that was two top 10, three top 25 upsets this week, or three top 15 upsets this week, two top 10. Um, so very exciting Saturday of college football. Let's switch over to everybody's favorite segment. It is time for Clown of the Week. I have a entry. Steph, do you have an entry?
I have two actually.
Yeah, one of our mine might be the same as one of yours, so I'll go first. My clown of the week. We're gonna hop on over to the NFL for this clown, and Cardinals running back Imari D. Mercado. Let me set the stage for you. Pretty sure this guy was the third string, maybe the fourth string running back, even potentially practice squad running back. Um, I think he's been having pretty good showings in practice, maybe this past preseason or maybe in the limited opportunities that he has been going in. The Cardinals decided to give him a chance this past Sunday as the running back one. Um, and in his debut, he carried the ball only 3 times, but he was able to amass 81 yards. And here is why he is the clown. Because on one of those runs, he broke the line of scrimmage and had, I think it was about a 60-yard or 50-yard touchdown. And just like many other clowns of the week of the past, he decided that he wanted to throw the ball through the back of the end zone before he crossed the pylon. Uh, and that goes out for a touchback. His opponent, the Titans, retain the ball, and the Titans go on to win the game by 1 point later on um, in the game.
What a
So,
joke.
so yeah. So not only do you lose the game for your team, I mean, obviously it's 4 quarters. You can't put it on one play, but your one play would have put 6 points on the board, and you lose by 1 point, anyways. So you lose the game for your team, and then, bro, this is your first and maybe your only shot in the NFL. You are about to score a touchdown. We have talked about this before. It is a honor to touch the ball in the NFL. If the ball is in your hands in the NFL, you are a 1%. You are living millions of people's dreams. And I'll tell you this, if that was me and the ball is in my hand, I am not letting the ball. You're gonna have to get the Navy, you're gonna have to get the Coast Guard, you're gonna have to call in the 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 Halo Spartans to come get that ball out of my hand. I am not letting go of the ball. What is it with these guys and their obsession of dropping the ball before the goal line or throwing the ball out the back of the end? Like, just score and hand the ball to the ref. It is that simple.
Yeah,
Do my,
I really don't understand this. I feel like we didn't used to see this when we were kids.
I don't think so. Maybe every once in a while we would, but
I
like,
mean, I know Deshaun Jackson did it, but
yeah,
he was an anomaly. He did it, and he did it at every level in high school, college, and pro, which is hilarious. But I'm glad you brought that play up because I wasn't gonna bring it up. And it's one of those things where if I see it, I'm gonna bring it up on Clown of the Week. So don't fumble the damn ball as you're crossing the goal line because you will be on Clown of the Week. I'm telling you, if I see it, it's gonna
er,
be brought up on
it's
Clown of the Week,
gonna
bro. I don't
100%.
care what level of football it is because it's ridiculous. Like why are you um you know, dropping the ball before you cross the goal line. It makes no sense. Like if I was a coach, you're never carrying the ball again. I promise you.
Never,
I
never.
will cut you. I will kick you off the team. I
You're
don't
done.
care.
You're
I'm
done.
not sitting there and having players drop the ball as they cross the goal line. It makes no sense to me. Hold the ball
Till you're
while
back on.
you're yeah, like hold it, run through the back of the end zone. That's literally after this. If I'm a coach, I'm having a new drill at practice. It's called run through the back of the end zone before you drop the ball. Run through the back of the end zone before you drop the ball. I'm telling you, back of the end zone. Run through the back of the end zone before you drop the ball because this is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's it just ball security is like my number one pet peeve. Like, I can't stand when people fumble the football. It is like my biggest thing when I'm watching a football game. And I get like I'll tip my cap to defenders that do the whole punch out thing, or if they can get their helmet on the ball. Like, fumbles happen, but like,
Right.
I I hate fumbles. Like, don't drop the ball. That is the most important. That is the prize possession. There is 22 people on this field fighting over this one single football. So if it is in your hands, you need to. It cannot go to the other team. It can in no situation can that ball hit the floor. Um, I don't care. I don't care. And especially when you're about to score points, man. You have
It's
a walk-in. I
ridiculous.
mean, he was not touched. He was not touched. I'm sure most
It's
of you guys
ridiculous.
have saw the play by now, but he was not touched. There was not a guy within 10 yards from him, and he just wants to. It's just foolish. You're a professional. This is your chance. This is your one shot, bro. You're a young player. It's your second year in the league. You're fighting for a roster spot. Coach finally has the trust to give you the ball, and then you do that. Yeah, good luck. Good luck finding another job.
It's
Steph,
ridiculous, man.
take it away. Who are your two clowns of the week?
So my first clown of the week is Penn State. I mean, we spent a large amount of time on this show talking about, everything that transpired against UCLA. And, um, they're the clowns of the week because of everything leading up to this game. Like, you're ranked in the top 10 and then you somehow lose to the worst team in the country. Like That's embarrassing. You know, after you guys tell us you got all these players coming back, a first round quarterback. Man, this is not he's not an NFL quarterback in my opinion. Yes, we can see the talent, but he has not played like it. So stop telling us about draft picks and this and that and everything that you have on your team, and then go out there and lay an egg against the worst team. Like this is not. It's not even like they lost against Iowa or Wisconsin or Michigan State. They lost to the worst Power Four team. The worst Power Four team. What are we doing? And like I said before, it's really just from the top down, coming from the coach. And I don't think his time there is going to last much longer. Honestly, even with the buyout,
Yeah,
I think he might leave and accept another job, which that's I guess is unlikely because they would have to pay the buyout. But I don't know. I don't know. I think it might have run its
it's
course over
cooked.
there.
It's cooked.
But my second clown of the week is the North Carolina Tar Heels. Um,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
and this is the reason why North Carolina is my second clown of the week is because um, I heard someone on a podcast say that it was a G5 coach, a quote that came out from a G5 coach that said that they were losing players to North Carolina in the portal, and the guy said, if you're losing players to us, y'all are going to suck. And it's true because why are the players that you're recruiting choosing between you and a G5 team? You should be competing with like Louisville, Virginia, Georgia Tech at the very least. You know what I'm saying? And if you're North
Right.
Carolina, we've seen North Carolina be towards the top of that conference, right? So they should even be competing with, you know, like Miami and teams like that, which we know they're not going to do that year one with a new coach, regardless of who it is. But you get the point. Like you should be
Right.
competing with ACC teams, not G5 teams. And I just think that Bill Belichick is as much as he's done in the NFL when it's come to college football, I think he's been in over his head, honestly. Like I think he thought that he was just going to go there and out scheme everyone and be able to be competitive, and that's just not how it works. Like the talent gap is so much larger than in the NFL. And and I think when it comes to scheme, I think he still got it because what happens when you watch North Carolina like in most of their games when they come out on that first drive and they have a scripted drive, they score a touchdown, right?
Right. Yeah.
But then after that, they settle into the game and the players can't do
Nothing.
anything on their own.
Right.
So it's a shame that the whole entire game isn't scripted because I think they'd be a lot better. But unfortunately, that's just not how it works. So um, I'm gonna have to, put North Carolina in clown of the week, because they've just been abysmal every week. They haven't been competitive. The fans left the game before halftime this past week against Clemson. I mean, honestly, like I don't know what they expected. I know Clemson's been bad, but they were always gonna blow you guys out. Like, why did you even leave? Like, I don't understand
Yeah.
going to a game where the team's gonna get blown out and then leaving, or like I really don't get it. You might as well just stay home. But like I just think this whole thing with North Carolina is just a clown show. These people, I don't understand what the deal was even hiring Belichick. Like, is he gonna stick around for the long haul? He's already over 70 years old. You just got rid of a coach because he was too old, and then hired a coach that's the same age. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. The truth. The real of the real is that's a basketball school, and they just need to.
Yeah, I mean, I think they need to get ready for basketball, and a lot of
Yeah.
teams are getting into that mode. A lot of fans are getting into that mode,
Shit.
whether it's
Florida.
college
Look, we won
or
the Natty last
NFL.
year. It's about to be
Yeah,
basketball season.
exactly. So, and I always say that every time October rolls around, that's the time where football fans start talking about basketball because their team is ass. And I enjoy it because you see this every time. I talk football with a lot of people, and as soon as they start talking about basketball, I'm like, wait, your team sucks. Why are you giving up on football already? You're worried about basketball. You shouldn't even be watching basketball till after Christmas. Like, what are we
Oh,
even doing? Like the NBA is a dead league. It's boring, it's terrible. Don't even get me started. So,
man.
yeah, like this is just the reality of a lot of fan bases. And I get everybody can't be like the Oregon Ducks and win consistently, but this is what goes on. They start talking about the Lakers and the Celtics and the Knicks.
Yo,
It's like, yo,
Dan Lanning really changed your life. You're talking crazy.
I was talking like this with Cristobal. Come on now, we were still cranking out 10-win seasons with Cristobal. Don't do us like that. But that's just what goes on with these teams. They start worrying about basketball, and at least in North Carolina, well, you know better than me, but haven't they been bad in basketball recently?
Yeah, they were pretty bad last year.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe they got to pivot to baseball or something.
Yeah, women's
Softball,
soccer.
yeah,
Yeah,
volleyball. Maybe they volleyball team good.
yeah,
I
something
don't
like
know.
that. Who
Because
knows?
Oregon's volleyball team good and our softball team good. So I guess we had everything school. Track,
Right, right.
basketball team making moves. We just got was he a high 4-star, 5-star player? Look, we had everything school. Everybody was bad.
Florida's a everything but football school. We won two natties
Everything,
last year.
everything but football.
Yeah, we won two natties last year. Like just not not in football. So
Oh my
whatever,
goodness.
whatever. All right, guys, we are gonna close out our week 6 reaction show here. Appreciate all the love and support so far this season. Like we have mentioned a couple times, uh, later on this week we will have that week 7 prediction show, and within that show, I think we'll do our updated like playoff picks, conference championship picks. Maybe we'll revisit some of the Heisman odds, and we'll do a little bit of that. Maybe towards the end, or maybe we'll start that that show off with that. Who knows? We'll see. But stay tuned for that. We will have that up to you guys later on in the week. Um, and yeah, we appreciate all the love and support. Like I mentioned, we will see you guys next time. Peace.